Hey there, thanks for tuning into Duck Bricks. I'm Chris, and this is a pretty obscure set. It's the LEGO Education Panama Canal. Yeah, it's an official working version of the Panama Canal in a LEGO Education model. This was not sold as a standard retail set, but instead in 2013, there were a couple of different ways you could actually get your hands on this, and I'll talk through it in the video itself, but I figured it's an interesting enough random LEGO model. Might be cool to do a review on it and a showcase, especially because I don't see that many reviews of this weird and bizarre LEGO set out there that often. And so, without further ado, let's jump into our look at the LEGO Education Panama Canal. Alright, so this is set number 200451, the Panama Canal. Back in 2016 when it released, and my apologies, in the intro of the video I said 2013, meant to say 2016, this retailed for $250. It comes with 1,184 pieces, and roughly associating for inflation, that results in around $324 today. So the price per piece was not that great for this set, but it is a very limited LEGO Education set, and that explains some of the oddities around the price itself. In 2016, this set was literally only available in Panama. If you did not live in Panama, you could not get this set. It also was a LEGO Education set, which meant it was even harder to get even if you did live in Panama, making it at the time one of the rarest LEGO sets to be released. Thankfully, around 2017, the Panama STEM Education website actually sold a number of copies of these with free shipping to the US for $250, so it became a lot easier to get by 2017, a year after its release, but not a lot of people knew about that, and by the time they actually went on sale, they pretty much sold out very quickly, which is why this remains one of the rarest LEGO items available, even though technically it was available anywhere in the US if you wanted to buy it for free shipping from the Panama Education STEM website. Now this is a really interesting model because it splits off into multiple different segments, and each of those are built fully separately, and the entire point of it is to showcase how exactly the Panama Canal works. It's a very technical model. It is definitely not the most interesting to build, especially architecturally, which is, I mean, if you look at the Panama Canal, it is a pretty interesting architectural feat, but it doesn't really focus on the architecture and design of the canal itself, and really just tries to focus on the mechanics and the function of how a canal like this actually works. Let me demonstrate how this actually functions. So for each of these individual components, there is a separate gate. So you can actually use the gears to close one gate and close the other gate, allowing the water level to rise for one of the different items. So here, you can twist the crank, the water level will rise, and the boat can continue on through the canal like so. Then you lower the water level, which you can see right here. This can just be lowered. You move each of the individual gates one way and the other, and then you can let the next boat pass through, close the gates, raise the water level, and continue on. Ultimately, that is basically all you can do with the set. It is very, very repetitive. It is basically just the same exact build, but with each build just slightly taller than the last, and makes for a very bizarre LEGO model, and I can definitely see why they chose not to sell this one as a general release set, because it's super niche, and it's also not the most interesting thing to look at. It really is clearly supposed to be a set to teach kids how the canal works, which I think is a really nice touch. You do have all of the mechanisms fully working, you have a way to raise and lower the boats to actually explain how different individual ships can get through the canal itself, and I do think that is a rather nice touch, but so far all of the pieces included in the set are pretty much just standard LEGO bricks and Technic elements, with only one exclusive, and I say that lightly, exclusive element being the sticker sheet, where you put on a Panama Canal sticker on this 2x4 tile. Other than the individual sticker that you use right here, everything else associated with the set is completely non-exclusive, which is good in some ways because, again, if you do want to recreate this, you do have the option to do so. But if you want to recreate it, it also is just a very kind of standard configuration of bricks and easily not the most interesting style of build. It's a strange LEGO set, and one that has kind of been on my mind for a while because I missed out on getting it back in 2017, and I always was kind of considering, well, do I actually really want to get this? But I did find it on a recent trip to Singapore where they had it at a fairly good price, especially compared to Bricklink, which is why I did pick it up. But it's a very weird model, and I wish there was more I could say about it, but it is just a very basic style of build. One thing I do want to note are all of the microscale boats here, and those I actually really do like because you have all sorts of different ferry boats and even a cruise ship that's passing through, so you've got a lot of different variety and diversity in the different boats included in the set. Here is more of your standard kind of tanker boat. This one's a container ship with different colors of containers. Perhaps this one is holding oil or some sort of liquid, that's why it's having these rounded capsules. Over here, you've got some antenna on the top of the ship itself, or maybe some crane, so this could be like a loading ship, and then you have a cruise ship on the end passing through. With the boats removed, here's what the set looks like, and yes, there is a minifigure included. I'm not really sure why a minifigure was included, because it isn't minifigure scale, obviously, and there's not that much you can do with it, but I guess they just wanted to include it as a trademark of LEGO. And then here, the set itself is pretty much just a series of stairs that you can raise and lower on gears. It's a very, very simple mechanism to raise and lower the water levels. Everything functions pretty much just the way that you would expect it to on a rack and pinion gear system, and I do like it because you actually have these fully functioning gates that can be opened and closed, which do feel very realistic for the kind of style they were going for to keep this as an educational set. But it's not the most riveting thing, you know? It's not the most interesting subject matter. There are definitely more interesting things to be made out of LEGO, and it clearly is just supposed to be for educational reasons. Honestly, that is pretty much all I can say about the model itself. There's not that much else to say about it. If you were to try to pick this one up on Bricklink, it is fairly expensive nowadays. It's between $350 to $400, which I guess if you adjust for inflation, it was $320 back in 2017 with inflation adjusted, so it's not that much more expensive than it was. But for the amount of pieces, I honestly would highly recommend that if you're curious about the set, maybe look at the instructions. If you want to build it, getting the pieces individually is going to be a lot cheaper than paying for the actual thing, and unless you really want that Panama Canal sticker there, which is a nice sticker to get and definitely makes it feel a little more exclusive, then I wouldn't necessarily recommend paying full Bricklink price for something like this, especially because it's just not the most interesting model. That's basically all I have to say about the Panama Canal LEGO set. It certainly is not a set that we would get nowadays. It kind of feels like a product of its time, which is weird to say that given that it came out in 2016, but LEGO Education is a wild place with a lot of weird sets like this, and I'm just happy I was able to showcase one of the most obscure LEGO items for you on the channel today. That's all for this video. Hope you enjoyed our look at the Panama Canal, and I'm really curious if anybody else other than me actually owns this set in the comments below. Alright, and that was the strange 2013 LEGO Education Panama Canal set. Let me know down in the comments if you actually own this set. What has been your experience with it? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? And I hope you enjoyed this review of another obscure and bizarre LEGO item to add to my collection. Thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe for even more LEGO news, reviews, discussion, and analyses coming your way very soon, and bye for now.